Welcome again to Deep Dive on your channel, Book Echoes. Today we are strapping in for, I think, one of the most brutal yet,
Yeah,
well, profoundly insightful journeys you could ever take into the human mind.
that's a good way to put it.
We're diving deep into Can't Hurt Me, Master Your Mind, and Defy the Odds by David Goggins.
And it's so much more than a book. It's really a declaration of war. It's a completely realistic and often pretty shocking account of his life.
Right.
And it details how he leveraged just this crushing trauma and failure to develop one single powerful concept. You can actively and deliberately master your mind.
And that's the power of it, right? How it dissects the mental chains we all kind of willingly put on ourselves. Let's start with a thought experiment that's really central to his whole philosophy.
Okay.
Imagine you get an open check, a blank check, right now. How much do you write?
1 million, 10 million.
Exactly. And if you pick 10 billion, why not? Why not Google? One with 100 zeros.
Well, that hesitation, that's the whole clue. The human mind is, it's designed to operate within limits. We see them everywhere.
Sure, like laws, physical
Some
boundaries.
speed limits on the highway, yeah. And the structured thinking, it provides positive order for sure. But Goggins realized it also imposes these negative false limits on our potential.
Okay, let's unpack this.
We sort of internalize a comfortable ceiling, and we just believe that's our maximum capacity.
Right, because this idea of a false limit is exactly what he's trying to smash. That we all have this untapped, hidden power. I mean, think about that classic scenario.
The running track.
The running track. You're out there on a normal day, maybe you do 2 laps. If a crowd's cheering, maybe 3.
And if someone offers you $1 million, you might just find a 4th lap in you.
Yeah, but that 4th lap feels like your absolute maximum. Your mind is just screaming at you, stop, you are done.
But then comes the twist.
The twist. What happens if a lion is suddenly let loose on that track?
You're not running a 5th lap.
No. You're running with a shocking, explosive speed you literally did not know you had. You're blowing past lap 4, probably lap 10, just on pure survival instinct.
And that surge, that's what Goggins calls latent energy. It's a reserve of power that's always dormant inside us, but it's guarded by the mind's protective governor.
This is where he gets to his core concept, the 40% rule.
Exactly. When your mind is telling you you're done, you're exhausted, you can't take another step. In reality, you've only used about 40% of what you've got.
And that's our mission in this deep dive, to reveal that other 60% we just leave on the table. Do you really know what you're capable of? I mean, most of us are living a life of comfort, way, way below that line.
And to really get how Goggins learned to access that 60%, you have to understand the darkness he came from. You just can't appreciate his mental toughness without knowing the life he was being tough against.
Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and activate the notification bell to receive all new content. Your support encourages us to continue.
So, yeah, he begins his book by describing, well, a truly miserable life.
His childhood, this starts around 1981 in Buffalo, New York, was what he called Hell on Paradise Road.
I mean, from the outside, it looked perfect.
Totally. A beautiful 2-story house, luxury cars. It was the image of the happy Goggins family living the American dream.
But the reality was a complete nightmare. And it was orchestrated by his father, who Goggins just calls the devil.
His father ran Skateland, a roller rink and bar.
And Goggins, his brother, his mother, they were basically forced labor, working all night, sometimes until 6 or 7 in the morning.
And then going straight to school. Sleep-deprived kids.
The fear was constant. At school, Goggins' main job wasn't learning. It was hiding the bruises from the beating so teachers wouldn't report it.
Because that would just lead to worse punishment at home?
The abuse he describes it's terrifyingly specific. He talks about being savagely beaten with a belt at just 6 years old.
And the gun incident.
The gun. His father pointing a loaded weapon right between his eyes because a garage alarm went off by mistake. This wasn't just physical. It was soul-crushing terror.
His mother was just trapped financially. But a friend helped her figure out an escape plan. The first step was getting a credit card.
And after one particularly awful incident, she just left, loaded up the Volvo with what they could grab. His father, in total shock, just told her she wouldn't even make it to the end of the street.
Said he'd replace her in 5 minutes.
And the escape itself was harrowing. They're driving away, they look back, and they see their father's car pulling out of the garage, coming after them.
I mean, the trauma just doesn't stop, even after they get away. His mother finds a kind fiancé, brings some stability into their lives.
Only for that man to be murdered. Shot multiple times. And young Goggins had to see the aftermath, the blood, the police tape. It's just an accumulation of psychological scarring that's It's hard to fathom.
So what does he do? He builds a shell. He becomes the cool kid in high school, using basketball as his only motivation to just barely keep his grades up.
Mostly by cheating, right? He was just avoiding everything. But that whole facade just collapses when he gets dropped from the team for bad attendance. And that leads to this huge angry confrontation with his mom.
So that instability, that pushes him toward his first attempt at a disciplined life, joining the Air Force.
He was inspired by his grandfather's pride in the military.
But all those years of cheating in school, they came back to haunt him. He failed the entry exam twice.
And not just failed, he scored a 22 out of 99. The minimum to pass was a 36. He was just totally unprepared for even the smallest challenge.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, this is the moment. His failure forces this confrontation, not with the drill sergeant, but with himself. He's desperate, overweight, staying with a friend.
He goes into the bathroom, turns on the shower.
And he looks into that fogged up mirror. He calls it the accounting mirror. And he forces himself to do this brutal self-assessment. He asks, "Are you truly happy with the person looking back at you?"
And the answer was a huge no. He hated how he dressed, the oversized clothes, everything designed to get attention and hide how insecure he felt. He saw the coward under the disguise.
And that leads to this soul-shaking realization. Nobody is coming to save you. His mom's working 2 jobs. His friends are unreliable. He's on his own.
He has to be his own savior.
He has to take full, radical responsibility for his life. And that changes everything.
Instantly. He shaves his head, starts dressing like a disciplined adult, implements these military-style routines, making his bed, cooking his own meals.
And the kitchen table becomes his study desk. He knew his mind was slow from years of neglect, so he hired a tutor.
But it's how he learned that's the key.
Yes. For every 1 hour the tutor taught him, he'd spend 6 to 8 hours just internalizing it, repeating it. This wasn't just studying, it was reprogramming his own brain through sheer effort.
And it worked. He passed the exam, got into the Air Force. But he admits, he had the external discipline. But he was still soft inside. The real war hadn't even started.
And that inner weakness got exposed fast. He attempted pararescue training, which requires insane water confidence.
But Goggins had this deep, paralyzing fear of water, a phobia he wouldn't even name.
So in training, he's not confronting the fear. He's looking for loopholes, for tricks to just survive the drills.
And then the perfect escape route just appears. He gets diagnosed with sickle cell trait.
Which is a real medical condition. It puts you at risk during that kind of high-stress underwater work.
And he seizes it. It's a legitimate, non-shameful excuse to stop the water training that terrified him.
He used some medical out, but when he came back, they told him he had to restart the whole course from week 1.
And he just dropped out. He knew the medical reason was just a cover. He quit because it was hard. He was a failure.
He gets reassigned to this soft admin job, and his internal weakness, his feeling of being a coward just festers.
So he starts compensating.
Massively. He starts powerlifting, lifting crazy heavy weights, not for fitness, but to look intimidating. He starts eating excessively.
His weight just explodes from 175 pounds to nearly 300.
290 pounds, 131 kilos. He grows this big mustache and goatee. He's literally building a physical wall to hide the soft person inside. He's projecting strength because he feels weak.
And his rock bottom professionally was working this job for Ecolab, cleaning filthy restaurants for, what, $1,000 a month? Dealing with rats and roaches.
That's where he has his final turning point. And it doesn't come from a book or a mentor. It comes from a screen.
He's watching a show on Navy SEALs Hell Week. He sees the glory of the guys who finished, the pain of those who quit. But that wasn't the real spark.
The real spark was Rocky Eye.
The fight against Apollo Creed. Round 14. Rocky's just getting annihilated. His corner, the crowd, everyone is screaming, "Stay down!"
But he gets up.
What's fascinating here is Goggins' interpretation of that moment.
Yes, he didn't just see a tough guy. He saw that Rocky's refusal to stay down filled Apollo Creed's face with dread. Rocky's body was broken, but his mind had won the war.
And Goggins applies that directly to his own life. His mind was the enemy. That voice of surrender that tells you to quit when things get uncomfortable.
He realized in that moment that to become the man he wanted to be, he had to declare total, uncompromising war on that voice.
Yet the war began the very next day. He calls up Navy SEAL recruiters.
And they just laugh at him. They hang up. He's 290 pounds and needs to be 190. And the age cutoff is only 3 months away.
He had to lose over 100 pounds in 90 days. His mind, every rational part of his brain, is screaming impossible.
But he had learned to talk back. His reply was simple: I can and I will.
The regimen that followed was just extreme. He completely isolated himself. The physical training was brutal. 2 hours on a bike, 2 to 4 hours swimming.
Forcing himself into the water every single day to confront that fear.
Then 2 hours in the gym. Maximum reps, no music.
And he's constantly talking back to his mind. You can't do 100 push-ups. Yes, I can. You can't hold your breath for 2 minutes. Yes, I can. It was mental programming through pain.
His diet was just as punishing. Fruit, vegetables, and 1 meal of rice and chicken.
He wasn't even focused on health, really. He was focused on compliance, proving to his mind that he was in control.
And he did it. He lost the weight, passed the exam. But the real test came in the SEAL training. He failed the course.
Not once.
Not twice.
Right.
3 times.
Yeah.
Because of catastrophic injuries.
The first 2 times were severe knee injuries. But the third attempt, that's the one. He developed stress fractures in the shins of both legs.
I mean, for anyone else, that's a career-ending injury, a legitimate out.
But he'd already learned the lesson of the accounting mirror. The only failure is quitting.
So he kept going. He literally taped his fractured legs together and refused to stop, pushing his body so far beyond that 40% limit. And he graduated.
And he says it all the time. I don't care about the trophy. The SEAL Trident, the ultramarathon records, they weren't the goal.
They were just the effects of that war.
Exactly. The extreme, deliberate suffering was his path to becoming a hard man, to make sure that nothing life threw at him could ever hurt him like his childhood did.
So is that the recommendation, then? That we all need this level of self-torture to improve?
That's a great question, and I think he'd say yes, but relative to your own comfort zone, he argues we have to seek out voluntary discomfort to raise our baseline for endurance.
He had that debate at MIT, right, about genetic limitation.
He did. The professor argued that genetics set unbreakable ceilings. You can't run like Usain Bolt if you don't have the wiring for it. And Goggins actually agreed, but he made a critical distinction.
He said genetics don't limit skills or mental toughness.
Precisely. He used football as an example. Messi might be genetically faster, but Zidane is still one of the greatest ever because of pure skill, dedication, mental acuity. Physical limits are real. Mental limits are self-imposed.
Which brings it all back to that warrior mentality.
It does. There's that quote from Heraclitus about an army of 100 men. 10 shouldn't be there. 80 are just pawns. 9 are fighters. But only 1 is the warrior.
And Goggins is asking you, the listener, are you prepared to be that one warrior, to wage war on the voice of comfort in your own mind?
His story is this incredible call for mental toughness, especially now. He makes that distinction between being a male, which is biological, and being a man, someone who is responsible, strong, and takes on the hard work.
It's not about suppressing emotion, but about resilience.
Right. Life is hard. There's bullying, hate, betrayal. You can't stop those things. The only solution is to strengthen yourself, to become hard so that reality loses its power over you.
He learned to turn every negative into fuel.
And the ultimate proof of it all, after the SEALs, the ultramarathons, after everything, he finds out he has a literal hole in his heart, and he did all of that with that condition.
Just unbelievable.
It proves that even the most severe physical limits are secondary to the will of a mastered mind.
So what does this all mean?
It means David Goggins proved that the limits we think are real, from our psychology, our trauma, even our own bodies, they're irrelevant if you can win the inner war. That battle against the 40% voice is the only one that truly matters.
So what is the one goal your mind is telling you right now is impossible? What's that one challenge that seems completely insurmountable? And what one action will you take today to start proving your mind wrong?
A powerful question.
We will meet again in another episode with another book. Take care and see you next time.